Hey everybody, so I've come to northern Malta today, to the verdant valleys overlooking or near the town of Imjar. The reason I'm here is because I want to talk about Wolfgame, which is set in a sort of farm landscape. So if you look at my Twitter profile, that little guy there, that's a farmer character, an NFT from the sort of Wolfgame ecosystem. So the goal of the Wolfgame project is actually to build a game. If you've ever seen these games where you build resources, you chop down wood, you gather stone, you breed cows, you have your own little plantation, you try and grow it, you try and grow a little empire, business of your own in a fictional world. Well, this is going to be the same sort of thing, except all of the little characters in this one are going to be NFTs. The little sheep are NFTs, the wolves are NFTs, the farmers are NFTs, the land itself is an NFT. And the goal is to play this game, build your little empire, but at the same time, eventually you'll be able to sell your sheep. If you have 2 sheep and you breed a third one, you can sell that sheep for real money. Or maybe you can sell your property if you upgrade it enough. Or your farmer can become more experienced and you can sell him or whatever. Now at the moment the game's still in production. It's meant to be coming out in Q4 of this year, which is now. We just moved into Q4. So these last 3 months of 2022, that's when the full game's meant to be released. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the characters, the NFTs in this Wolfgame ecosystem. They're all going to be little NFTs. So we'll start off with the original collection, which is just called Wolfgame. And the first thing we see is the sheep. Loads of sheep, all different, a variety of different sheep. Now if we want to see the wolves, we go down here on the left, we go to type, and we can see, look how many more sheep there are than wolves. The sheep are much more abundant than wolves. The wolves are kind of the king of the game. They're much rarer and therefore they're much more expensive. Now they're not only more expensive just because they're rarer, they can actually do more things. Each one of these characters and little NFTs will have different properties and different abilities within the game. For instance, the wolves can actually steal the offspring of sheep and they earn passive income. They prowl around the farms and as the sheep gather wool, they tax it. So they take 20% of everything passively. So it's really, there's decentralized finance in it. There's an economy going on that they're building here. And the wolves are kind of the king of that economy, at least so far. Now, if you click down on the left, you'll also see there's Generation 0 and Generation 1. Generation 0 is the most expensive, oldest, most original version of sheep and wolves. They're just always more expensive. A Gen 0 wolf is going to be more expensive than a Gen 1 wolf. A Gen 0 sheep, more expensive than a Gen 1 sheep. And we think there's going to be more utility for Gen 0 animals in the full game when it comes out. We don't know what it is. None of this has been made finally yet. We're just sort of getting info about it. But Gen 0 seems to be the king, although Gen 1 also a bit spectacular. Okay, the next set of characters we're going to look at are the Wolfgame farmers. Now there are 7 different types of farmers and we're not sure what they're going to do yet. We're assuming that the rarer ones are going to have cool special abilities and we don't know what they are though. We're just sort of all guessing at this point, but people are paying quite a lot for the rarer ones. So the first ones are the average Joes. They're the most abundant type of farmer. Really cool. I love the way they're actually all designed. The next one is the diesel. They're slightly rarer, but there's still quite a few of them. Big fella. Now after the diesels we've got the above average Janes. They're rarer, but there's exactly the same amount of the above average Janes as there are of the next character, which is the kid. Now they're sort of equal in terms of rarity, but they're obviously quite different characters, so we don't know what they're going to do. Is the kid going to be fast at gathering resources but make some sort of silly mistakes because he's a kid? What's the above average Jane going to be really good at? We're wondering what their attributes are. It's one of the fun things within the community actually, is the speculation about what these characters might do. What might they be good for? And the kind of strategy of trying to buy ones when they're maybe underpriced, because maybe they'll have special abilities which will make your property much more efficient. So the next one on the list is the 100 years, my profile picture. So there's these really quite rare. There's only 417 of these, and it's been alluded to by Shepherd. That's the name of the creator of the Wolfgame, the Shepherd. Everyone just calls him Shep for short. He's alluded that maybe 100 years lacks strength or speed but has wisdom. So does wisdom mean he's going to be good at trading, or he's going to be able to spot wolves and ward them off? We have no idea just yet. So the last 2 types of farmers in the collection are the rarest of them all, and we believe the most powerful. And they're the Big Daddy, there he is, look at him go, and the Big Mama. So apart from just being awesome and very rare, there's only 208 Big Daddies, 208 Big Mamas. We're assuming they're going to be very powerful characters, very powerful farmers within the ecosystem, but we don't know what they're going to do yet. We have no idea even about them. Now, if you're going to build a farm, you're going to need some land. That's the next collection we're looking at. There's 20,000 Genesis plots of land where we can build our farms, our farmers can work, our sheep can graze, and our wolves can hunt. Now, when you look at one of these plots, you'll see at the bottom that each one lists the resources that are in that plot. You've got water, then you've got stone, then you've got wood, then you've got grass, and then you've got a barn, a structure. Now each of these plots has a different amount of these resources, and with those different amounts, and depending on where they are, it makes them more or less valuable. Now here's one with a structure. You can see that the structure is actually listed there at the bottom, and there's the space for the structure itself. Now if we go and look at how many structures there are in the collection, we can see that there's actually very few structures compared to properties with no structure on them. So originally I think people were hoping that we'd be able to build structures on any old plot, but actually now we realize that you can only build a structure on one of these properties which has that structure attribute. So they're actually very rare and very in demand. Now we don't know exactly what type of structures we're going to be able to build, but we have had some clues from the place we always get clues in Wolfgame, Twitter, the Wolfgame Twitter. So one of the most amazing things about the project is the way the shepherd, the creator of the project, sort of communicates with us, the community, and gives us info and sort of hints about what might be coming in the full game. And he does this via the medium of GIFs on his Twitter. He releases these GIFs and they're just genius, and they sort of tease us with little information about what might be coming, what functionality might be there, so we can strategize and try and collect the correct assets. The sun's starting to go down, so I'm going to leave the verdant valley. I'm going to head somewhere just a little bit nearby. I actually moved. It's 5 days later and I'm not in the verdant valleys anymore. I'm in a sun-drenched marina, and the Wolfgame, the whole assets have just pumped. There's been a huge price increase since I started 5 days ago, over the last weekend. I have no idea why. Someone got interested in it, must have passed on the word, and everything's sort of gone up in value. This is a good point for me to point out that this is not investment advice, okay? I don't know how this is going to do. I don't know if the game's going to be great or if it's not going to be great. I'm hoping it's great because I'm heavily invested, but I don't know how it's going to do. And in the past, sometimes I've picked good things, sometimes I haven't. I'm talking about this simply for the art and the joy and the culture and the potential of it. But do your own research, okay, into all of this stuff. So back to those GIFs that I was talking about, because they're sort of so special to the community, I think, Shep actually turned them into their own collection known as the Relics. You can buy them, one of one, you can buy those actual GIFs for yourself and hold and trade and own those ones as well. Now, one thing I missed out about the lands last time, hugely important, is the C0 lands, the Community Zero lands. Now these, we have no idea what they are, nothing. People are speculating, is this going to be the blacksmith or the butcher or the baker or the candlestick maker? Is this going to be a town square? Is this going to be some way that I can sort of sit as a middleman and just earn passive income off everyone else who uses my services? And because no one knows what they are, they don't know what part they're going to play in the story, they're now very, very expensive. So Community Zero, they're at the moment the gold standard of lands, even more than lands with structures on. That's a different thing. Community Zero, we have no idea what they're going to be. They could be anything, no idea yet. So holding them, very valuable at the moment. Okay, so the next thing to talk about, extremely important, and it's an asset which has actually really raised in value over this last sort of few days, the last week, is wool. Wool is the asset, the sort of currency of the ecosystem. Now there are two ways you can buy wool. Either you can go to Uniswap and you can just buy it. We refer to that as liquid wool. Now the reason we call that liquid wool is because there's another way you can buy wool, which is in pouches. This is another one of the collections, the Wolfgame wool pouches. Now each one of these pouches contains actual wool, but it's sort of locked up, okay? So from the time the pouch was made, over 4 years, the wool inside will be released. Each day you'll be able to claim a little bit more of it. Now the way you actually get your hands on this wool that's in the pouches is you go to the Wolfgame site and it will detect any pouches that you own, and it will show you how much of the wool is available to take right now. The rest you'll have to wait, it will release it day after day. Now what's the point in this? So the liquid wool has a certain price on it. You'll buy it for a certain price today from Uniswap. If you buy a wool pouch, generally it's going to be much cheaper to buy the wool. You're going to get more wool for your money, but you're not going to have access to that wool straight away. You're going to have to wait years as it slowly drips out. The wool pouches are a sort of a bet that the ecosystem is going to grow over time. Now you can always sell your wool pouch later on. It doesn't matter. Now if you're wanting to get into wool pouches and wanting to work out which ones are valuable, which ones aren't, because they all have different amounts of wool in them, I found it quite confusing. But the Wolfgame community has built some really amazing resources. So on these resources, which are free to use, you've actually got pouch calculators that will show you which are the most profitable, which are the most valuable wool pouches currently for sale. You can assess farmers, you can assess wolves, sheep, anything in the game. You'll have to sort of get used to these tools because they're really rich and complex, but they're there to use, and there's so much to learn. Now, to find out how to use these, the best place to go is the Discord. Always go to the Wolfgame Discord. It's active with really useful people, really kind actually, and understanding, friendly people, especially to newcomers, and you can get all your questions answered there. So that's pretty much covered the collections, the NFT collections, which make up the ecosystem. So the full game's gonna launch sometime this quarter, sometime in the next 3 months. Now, one of the magnificent things about Wolfgame, which has really kept us all, or me engaged and a lot of other people, is that whilst the game has been being built, there's been mini games which we've been involved in. At the moment, you can see Alpha Game. Alpha Game's been going on for months. So if you have a sheep, or you have a wolf, or you have some wool, you can stake it in Alpha Game and you can actually earn more, earn a bigger wool pouch at the end of it. It's really interesting to see how that's doing and people vying for position. Now, apart from Alpha Game, which is more passive, as a holder it's a very passive game. You stake your assets and you sort of just leave it and you're accruing wool. Apart from that, there was Cave Game. And Cave Game is very beloved by the community. It was a really simple game, top-down game, where your little asset, in my case, I only had one sheep, all right? So I had one sheep, I had 100 energy each day to move around in these caves looking for little shiny things. When I found a shiny thing, I could dig. And when I dug, I got these little prizes. Now, it could be you get some dynamite to blow up walls. It could be you get a little visor so that you can actually see through walls. It could be that you get a metal detector or a heat-sensitive thing so you can see other people's footprints. Or you could find a gem. The reason I've got my 100 years, that PFP that I've got, is because I found this gem in Cave Game. That's what everyone was after. The whole purpose of Cave Game was for us to wander around and try and find these gems, and each gem held in it the ability to mint a very rare farmer when it came time to mint our farmers. And I found one and I'm so grateful for it. But the playing of the game was incredibly fun. I've seen lots of games within NFT communities and I haven't enjoyed any of them. To be honest, none of them. And I've seen some games made by very big projects and very big, very clever, very capable, experienced teams. Haven't really enjoyed any of them. Cave Game was awesome. Genuinely. You had to buy certain items with wool, but they made the wool, the amount that you had to pay was just enough, $5, $7, $12, so that you could keep playing and you'd find a bit of wool which was worth your $15. They made the risk to reward and the payment to reward really well balanced, and everyone in the community loved that game. I think it's one of the things that convinced us all that this is going to work, that these people know how to build something which people will engage with and really potentially enjoy. So the next thing we're waiting for is the white paper. So the white paper will tell us exactly what's going to be happening in the game, how it works, how the farmers work, how all these pieces and lands and everything, how the whole ecosystem interacts. And I reckon when the white paper comes out, there'll be a flurry of activity as everyone tries to trade assets and realizes they're overextended here and they need more of that or whatever. But we'll see when that comes out. And when it does come out, I'll let you know, and hopefully I'll have some fun playing this as it sort of develops. Anyhow, hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave a like because it's a new channel still and it'll really help, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay woolish.